Hey guys, so I've been watching some videos on YouTube showcasing /x/stories and wanted to share mine. I've been on 4chan a while, mainly /poll/ and never knew about what /x/ did really. It's quite a short story but completely true. I know you must read that a lot, but honestly it is. Today I'm a normal 21 years old male. I've never had shit like this happen to me before or since. I've never been diagnosed with a mental health issue, and I don't really believe in any spiritual crap. It's just that the YouTube videos shown me some of what /x/ was about, and I thought you might like my story. Plus it feels good to get this off my chest. At least some of you here might believe me. So, when I was about 7/8, me my family rented a caravan on a caravan site in England, Manchester. It was an idyllic place and perfect for families, a good spot for young children to play and get to know the outdoors. It's close to a canal, Macclesfield Canal I think, which has a long adjacent cycle path along it. The people there were always very friendly and civil, with canal boats being built/made further along the canal near Bailey's Trading Post, which I always found very interesting. You can see it on Google Maps if you look. Anyway, when I was young I would explore every inch of the site, and this included the woods behind my caravan. Now, I don't know how well you know England's history, but at one point England was covered in woods like this. Much of them have disappeared now though, thanks to farming and urban/building developments and such. Anyway, behind my caravan we also had a shed, in between the caravan and the woods. This shed was a great source of frustration for my dad, however, because of how often it would be swallowed by the woods. Tree branches and vines were constantly entwining themselves around the building and dragging it down the slope so as to bring it further into the woods. Because of this my dad had to frequently cut back the trees and vegetation, and sometimes I'd help, my dad lending me a little hatchet I used to valiantly chop down little vines and weeds while my dad did the real heavy lifting. Now that I think about it, he probably just gave it me so he could have a laugh. Anyway, the problem with the woods being super aggressive only affected a few people on the site, which we thought was odd but attributed it to different tree breeds being behind our caravan and no one else's. I always thought this was strange because they all looked the same to me, but I was just a kid so I wasn't exactly the most nuanced judge of fauna and flora. Anyway, so one day I went out exploring the woods. It was a cool experience because I could hear all the birds chirping and even a few woodpeckers, and it was very pleasant to walk through because of the wooden footpath at the base of the little valley that was the wooded area. The valley was great because it was only very small but felt quite secluded and looped back around on itself. So you'd enter it at one point of the caravan site, walk through it and end up back on the site a little further away from where you started. Anyway, one day me and my cousin decided to walk through the valley together, playing games and getting up to mischief when we saw an old house in the distance. I thought this was strange because I don't remember ever seeing a house in the woods before, but chalked it up to not paying attention in the past or misremembering. All throughout the walk with my cousin, who's a girl, the forest was dead silent, another peculiarity I thought nothing of at the time. Today I know better, but back then we were still so young. We didn't care or know that it signaled danger. So we sallied forth deeper into the woods and arrived at the base of a staircase leading up to the house. My cousin at the time was a year older than me and insisted I stay behind in case it was dangerous. I agreed, the both of us obviously taking this to be a big game, and waited at the base of the stairs while she climbed up to investigate the home. When she came sprinting back down the steps I knew something was wrong though. The illusion of the game shattered. She was crying and had dirt on her dress, screaming, "Run, run." We legged it out of the forest and returned to my caravan. After cleaning her up and settling her down, I asked her what she saw. She said she saw a pack of foxes encircling a dead old woman. Me, being a child at the time, was obviously freaked out by this and believed her completely. My memory of this event is a little hazy however, and, years later I explored the forest again and never found the house. Now I doubt if this ever happened or if it was just a dream. One thing that I am certain wasn't a dream however was the time I saw the red eyes. I believe this to be the only encounter with the paranormal I've ever had, and I remember it clearly. So, Sometime after the house/forest incident, maybe a few weeks after, I was out exploring the caravan site again. I avoided the forest, for obvious reasons, but went everywhere else. Well, one day I went and explored an area close to the forest. See, the forest kind of encircled the caravan site, and came closer to the caravans at some points and was further away at others, and there was this one area kind of like a clearing in the forest that the site owner must have cleared not long back to make some more room for some more caravans, greedy bastard. Anyhow, my dumb ass wanted to explore it. It wasn't in the forest, so I'd be safe, I reckoned, and so I set out with my torch and BMX and rode down to the clearing. After this I'd never go back there again. When I got there I was stunned by the silence again. It felt like I was in a bubble of silence. It was surreal to the extreme. I got the same vibes as last time, in the forest with my cousin, so was on edge immediately. I took a cursory glance round but didn't see anything too offensive, except a gnarly tree that looked like it had a face in it. That was cool. So I decided to turn back and just avoid the place from now on. I didn't want any more paranormal shit happening to me after the first time. I was wise to it after the first time. Of course though, I just couldn't help myself, so before I left I explored one of the old caravans the site owner had dumped there and forgotten. The thing was clearly very old, with a brown 1950s style, and it was dilapidated on one side. I tried to open the door, but it was jammed shut, so I settled for just walking around it and looking at it. It was when I looked around the back that the paranormal shit happened. So I walked around the back, and between the caravan and the wall it was up against there was a gap of maybe 1 to 1.5 meters wide. It was pitch black inside despite it being daytime at the time, which I thought was odd. Anyway, I shone my torch into the blackness and nothing happened. The darkness just remained, but I must have woke something up, because the next thing I know a pair of giant red eyes opened up in front of me. It wasn't like a normal set of eyes with whites and pupils. It was more like a set of red lights. I just call them eyes because they appeared as if they had eyelids, as in, the eyes only appeared after a set of eyelids opened. It was easy to distinguish the eyelids opening because the eyes themselves were so big and bright. It's crazy to think about even to this day. They were so bright and big. Awful, really. I felt such a fear in that moment that for a second I was glued to the spot. My legs failed me and my brain could not process what I was seeing. I know it's a cliché trope in these stories, but it happens. Just you wait till you have a similar moment in your lives. Stereotypes and clichés exist for a reason. Anyway, my brain eventually engaged flight mode and I ran screaming. I picked up my BMX and ran with it. I was so scared. I simply couldn't spare the time to get on it. I felt so endangered. Human instincts are weird like that, and fear is one of, if not the most powerful emotion/instinct we have. It overrides all other thought processes, and your brain runs in automatic mode. Quite interesting really, because in those circumstances you can really see how people work on an instinctual level. The mask of consciousness and intelligence is removed from their daily actions. I ran back up the hill leading to the clearing, got to the top and got on my BMX. The monster hadn't chased me, thank God, but I still felt a deep panic. I was crying now, and the weather had suddenly taken a turn for the worse. Whereas in the clearing it had been sunny and calm, up the hill it was raining pretty heavily. I didn't notice at the time, but now that I write it down I think the monster or forest was controlling the weather in that spot or messing with my mind. God, it sounds crazier the more I write about this shit. Anyway, I began to ride down to my caravan. See, the clearing I went to and my caravan were all further down the hill I was now on. At the top of the hill, where I was, there was a kind of intersection, one path leading to the clearing and a more well-defined road leading to my caravan. The road encircles the main caravan site and I think they're currently resurfacing it now. Anyway, I began to ride back down to my caravan at full tilt. I wanted my dad so much and to feel safe. I just wanted to be saved. That never happened though, because a little ways down the road my bike slipped out from under me. I crashed and was knocked out, injured pretty badly with a deep gash to my little finger, which was broken and remains fucked to this day. Apparently my dad found me in a pool of my own blood with my mouth agape and eyes wide open. Needless to say, he thought I was dead. He rushed me to a hospital, of course, and I remember waking up to my mum and dad watching over me. I was very needy for a long time after that, being very clingy to my parents and them likewise. We worked on it over the years though, them and myself realizing there was a problem here, and by the time I was about 12 I was back to mostly normalcy with feeling safe and such. It was just that back then those eyes put such a fear in me of being separated from my parents. I felt as though I'd lost them or something. God, it's stupid to think about now, but that is honestly how I felt at the time. Those eyes did something to me. Me and my family remained at the site for a few more years after that, only leaving when the rent for the caravan went too high and we had to give it up. It was a great place to grow up and I have many happy memories before and after the event, and I remember my time there as more happy than scary, but that event is always there, lurking. That's it. I spent way too long getting this short story out, but I just started remembering more and more shit as I started writing it down. I accepted the story as true when I was about 16. I just kind of sat myself down, thought about what happened and said to myself, yep, that happened, but never really let it get to me. It feels good getting it off my chest now, and hopefully this can serve as some sort of closure for me now. If you want to see the caravan site, you can go to its Facebook page, just search up Elms Bed Caravan Park, you should see it there. I don't know how smart it is linking a nice place like this to a bunch of schizos on /x/ but whatever, my story is true, goddammit, and I want people to believe me. I'm sick of the bullshit in other people's stories where they don't get into specifics because of security risks or some shit. I have work in the morning, so we'll try to phone post tomorrow if people want to ask questions. I doubt this thread will get people's attention though. It's quite a boring story compared to the outlandish shit I see on this board and listen to on YouTube. Whatever, even if nobody reads this I still feel better. Good night.